Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode here in NHL 22. So in last episode, we took on the San Jose Sharks in the first round of the playoffs, and we managed to sweep them to win our first playoff series of this entire series. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what this team could do in round 2 against a pretty tough Winnipeg Jets team. Now, before we actually get into this playoff matchup, I want to let you guys know that I'm literally recording this a little bit after you guys have seen the San Jose Sharks episode, so there might not be a lot of comments that I go through, but it's mainly because I can't hold my anticipation to get into another episode of this because I'm just very excited to see what this young team can do in this playoff matchup. So I'm going to have to stop recording after this episode, but that's okay, I guess, because I'll have to wait until, I guess, Tuesday before I could record the conference finals if we get there or that type of thing. So yeah, anyways, I'm really hoping that we could beat this Jets team and get to that conference finals and maybe get to a cup finals this year. If not, this has been a very successful year for this young team, so it's definitely good in terms of that. But anyways, we do have one comment to go over, and that is from HawksFan88. He says, get the brooms out. And then I also asked him if we should make any adjustments to our power play, because that was our main problem with our team in the first round. Like, we still won in 4 games, which is good. But the main problem with our team in that first round was our power play could not click. HawksFan doesn't think we should be really make any changes because it's not really much of a concern. But hopefully this team can find its power play a little bit in the second round, because currently, if we look at the entire league in the playoffs, as you can see, our offense has been pretty good. Our goaltending has been phenomenal so far from Lenefeld, but that power play went 1 for 7 in the first round, which is not that great. Then again, it was only 4 games that we played, so maybe if we had won like 7 games, we would have scored more. I don't know. So hopefully, yeah, in this second round, we could score a little bit more on the power play, and obviously our special teams could improve a little bit and stuff like that against a tough Jets team. Now, we're also kind of lucky going into this round because the Winnipeg Jets do have an injury to Nikolai Ehlers, and he won't return till like a Game 7 situation. So hopefully he doesn't come back and like randomly win them the series if we go to 7 games. But yeah, that's pretty much that. Let me just show you guys their lineup again just in case you forget for the most part. So top line is Connor, Scheifele, and Vesalainen. So if Ehlers was back, Vesalainen would more likely be down here, and Phil Kessel would probably be out of the lineup, which obviously is a former player of ours. He's playing alongside Perfetti and Khrushchev. Third line has Dubois, Roslovic, and Aube-Kubel. And then the fourth line has another former player of ours in Christian Fischer, as well as Bukestad and Joseph. So you can see their forward core is pretty good, and it gets even better if they bring back Ehlers. On the defensive front, they're also pretty good. They got Morrissey and Pionk, Pesci and Heinola, and a top 6 pairing of Mitchell and Clifton. As for their goaltending, they do not have Connor Hellebuyck anymore. They do have those Sorokin and Matt Murray, so they could alternate between the two of these goalies, just like we could do with Campbell and Lenefeld. And in depth-wise, as you can see, they have Nick Kanen and Paling, and an Ehlers is currently an injured player. So hopefully we could take advantage of them having an injury to Ehlers, and hopefully we could win some games early on. And hopefully Phil Kessel and Christian Fischer do not come back to bite us in the ass, because Phil Kessel we traded away, and then eventually he like moved around in free agency quite a bit. While last year we actually had Christian Fischer and dropped him to free agency, and he signed with the Winnipeg Jets. So it should be interesting to see how we play against these former players. Not to mention the Arizona Coyotes used to be the Winnipeg Jets back in the days, so that's also kind of an interesting thing. So this is going to be a pretty historic matchup between these two teams. Let's see what happens and see if our young guys can continue doing what they've been doing, and hopefully Lenefeld could continue to his hot play because he was phenomenal in that first round. If he doesn't for some reason play good in the first 2 games, we could always turn to Jack Campbell, and hopefully he could kind of take over the role for Lenefeld for a little bit while Lenefeld kind of gathers his like thoughts a little bit going into the next game and that sort of thing. So here we go, game 1. We do have home ice advantage in this juggernaut of a series, both teams with over 50 wins in the regular season. First period of game 1, and we're down 2-1. That's not good, and oh my god, you gotta be joking me. That's like the worst case scenario. I was literally just mentioning this. Christian Fischer scores a short-handed goal. Shelley scores on the power play, so good to see our power play scoring, but Phil Kessel also scores. So literally 2 of our former players who I just mentioned have goals in the first period against us. Oh, I kind of felt like they had to score at least at some point in the series, but man, that is just like a shot in the chest pretty much. But at least Shelley scored on the power play. That's good to see that power play going. Shots are 10-7 in favor of us, but we are down 2-1, so not a great start for Linnefelt. We might turn to Jack Campbell for next game if he continues to play not this good. Second period, and we are still down 2-1, so a good bounce back period for Linnefelt, but we are still down by a goal. Shots are 21-17 for us, but we are still down by a goal, and our offense still needs to pick it up a little bit. Let's see what happens here in this third period, see if we could tie this game up and maybe force an overtime. And Chychrun scores. Let's go. Chychrun had no goals in the first round. He did have an assist, and Dylan Genther scores. I don't think he had a goal in last round either. That is a good way to start the third period, but of course Phil Kessel answers back. All three of their goals coming from former Coyotes players, of course. We're still out shooting him, and it's still 3-3, and we are going to overtime in Game 1. Against the San Jose Sharks, though, we had 2 OT games, and I'm pretty sure we won both of them, obviously, because we won the series in 4 games. So let's see if we can win a third game in OT here against the Jets. We've been out shooting him 35-25. Who wants to get that OT winning goal, please? Come on, boys. Shelly, Farinacci. Who do I want to call up? It's going to be Farinacci, of course. After I just say Farinacci, he scores. I feel like I could almost predict who scores because some guys score way more than others, but we win 4-3 in Game 1, and we are 5-0 in the playoffs. We outshot them 39-29 in that game. It was a good third period comeback to an extent, and obviously we managed to stay off those goals from Fisher and Kessel, because or else that would not have been good if Kessel would have scored like the OT winner or something like that. So Shelley second from Hayton and Farinacci, Chychrun from Jenner and Soderstrom, Genther from Chychrun, Farinacci from Shelley and Chychrun. So Chychrun with a very good game. That's definitely his best game of the series, and now he's definitely playing like he did during the regular season. Hopefully he can keep that up, because if he could keep that up, then we might be a dominant team. So yeah, he had 3 points, Shelley had 2 points, Farinacci had 2 points, and then a couple other guys with 1 point. Anybody badly minus? Only a couple minus ones. And goalie-wise, yeah, Linnefelt really struggled a little bit in terms of save percentage, but at least he got the W. If he plays bad next game, we will turn to Jack Campbell, though, I think. So Chychrun gets first star, Farinacci to second star, and Shelley to third. Okay, so a good way to start off that series against a tough Jets team. Hopefully we can keep that up going into game number 2. We will stay with the Linnefelt for this game, but like I said, if he doesn't play that good again this game, like he has below a 900 save percentage, I might turn to Jack Campbell, because this young guy might not be ready to play a full 16 games in the playoffs or something like that. So we could always turn to Jack Campbell if we need to. But here we go, game number 2, still have home ice advantage. Let's see if we could take a 2-0 series lead here on this Winnipeg Jets team. First period, and we're up 1-0. I like that. Filip Zadina scores. He's actually been really good so far in this playoffs, but regular season-wise, he's been kind of quiet. We are paying him $9 million, so this might be one of his last seasons here if I decide to trade him away. But yeah, hopefully he can keep playing like this in the playoffs. Shots are 14-5 in favor of the Jets, but we are up 1-0, which is kind of a surprise. Second period, and we are up 3-1. Let's go. Roslovic scores a shorthanded goal, so they have 2 shorthanded goals in the series, which is kind of scary a bit. Means our power play is definitely giving up a lot of offensive chances. But then Julian Gauthier will give us the lead back, and another power play goal from our boy in Calvin Jolly. He's got 2 power play goals in the last 2 games, and our power play is finding itself, which is good, because that's definitely what we needed. Shots are 20 apiece actually as well, so we definitely had a good bounce back period in that second. Let's see if we could lock this one down. Timmins makes it 4-1 early on in the third. That's a big goal. Now let's just see if we could lock it down and take a 2-0 series lead ahead of the Winnipeg. Come on, boys. Final 9 minutes of play. We're still up by 3 goals. Final 5 minutes. Time winding down, looks like. Oh, Vesalainen makes it 4-2. And that is going to be the final, as we have taken a 2-0 series lead on a tough Winnipeg Jets team. And the final shots in that game are 27 apiece, so a pretty even game, but we scored more goals pretty much. So Zadina's 4th from Chychrun and Hayton. Gauthier's 1st to the playoffs from Genther and Geeky. So the 3 Gs actually get points on each other. That's funny. Shelley's 3rd of the playoffs from Hayton and Farinacci. And Timmins 1st to the playoffs from Ponomarov and Jenner. So some of those guys didn't actually have points in the first round, so that's good to see them getting points now. The first star of the game goes to Hayton. The second to Linnefelt, who definitely bounced back a little bit after a little bit of a tough game last game. And Shelley, the 3rd star. Perfect. So that's a good way to start off this round, especially with Nick Ehlers out with an injury, because if we were to lose a bunch of games and then Ehlers would return, then there would be probably a good chance that we get eliminated. But we're 6-0 in the playoffs so far. Definitely off to a really good start. Now it comes a tough task of winning games in Winnipeg. We won games in San Jose, obviously, but Winnipeg is definitely a way better of a team, so this is probably going to be pretty tough. I am going to keep Lenefeld in net since he definitely bounced back in last game, but if he has a rough game here, once again, I think I might give Campbell a chance because Campbell definitely deserves an opportunity because he was so good during the regular season. But here we go, Game 3, still in, well, not still in Winnipeg, now in Winnipeg. Let's see if we could take a 3-0 series lead here. First period, and it's 1-1. Okay, I'll take that. Kessel scores again. Literally almost all their goals so far in this round have been former players of ours, which is kind of a headache for me, but at least we're still winning games. Agostino then scores, and it's 1-1 after 1. The shots are 13-12 in favor of us as well. Second period, and we're up 2-1. Let's go. Agostino again. Let's go. I'm really liking the youth movement of Agostino, Farinacci, and Scheifele. Those three guys especially. They're probably my favorite players in the series at the moment. But we have a 2-1 lead going into the third. We're dominating them in shots, 28-18. Let's see if we can get some more insurance in this third period. Sorokin's definitely keeping them in this game right now. Come on, boys. Let's get a 3-1 lead here. Come on, Scheifele. Keep your goal scoring streak alive, maybe. Since you scored 2 goals in the first 2 games. Final 5 minutes of penalty kill. Nicely done. That was a massive penalty kill. Final few minutes. And we're going to take a 3-0 series lead, and we're still undefeated in the playoffs. We're 7-0. I don't think I've ever started 7-0 in a playoff run before. 36-26 were the final shots, and we win 2-1. A very good game defensively for both teams, and Sorokin definitely kept them in it, but we managed to get the win as Agostino has both goals. The first one was from Hayton, and the second one from Chikrin and Zadina. 3 stars in that game. Agostino the first star, Sorokin the second star, and Lenefeld the third. Lenefeld's been a playoff beast. Like, I wasn't really expecting that because his regular season numbers usually are kind of inconsistent, but he's been phenomenal so far this playoff run. Like, he's definitely going to get a big contract this offseason, or we have to trade him away in order to bring up Wallstead. But let me just show you guys the goaltending stats right now, because if we look at our edit line screen, hopefully we do not get reverse swept, but Lenefeld has been phenomenal so far. He's 7-0 with a 933 and a 1.88. Last year he was not that great. And yeah, regular season wise, his numbers aren't phenomenal, but they're not terrible either. But yeah, if he ever has a bad game, we could just turn to Jack Campbell, who's been a good machine as well. And he was also a good playoff goalie when he played with other teams. So yeah, we definitely have an opportunity to maybe win the series if even Lenefeld does really bad, because Campbell could win us games probably. But anyways, let's get into Game 4 and see if we could pull off our second sweep in a row. Or are we going to win or lose our first ever game of the series, or in the playoffs, I should say. Here we go, back in Winnipeg for Game 4. Let's see what happens. First period, and we're up 2-1. My God, this team has been so good. Gauthier opens the scoring. Scheifele scores for them, so he hadn't been anywhere in the series so far. It was only like Kessel, Fisher, and I think there was another player that scored a goal, but Scheifele finally gets a goal for them. Scheifele scores for us again, so Scheifele's now got 3 goals in this series. Shots are 13-10 in favor of us, but we're up 2-1. Second period, and it's 3-3, so the Jets have woken up a little bit. We were up 3-1 as Chikrin made us have a 2-goal lead, but Scheifele again gets another goal. He's woken up for sure, and Kessel gets another goal. I swear, this Phil Kessel plays like he's like a friggin' 90 still, like he did when he was back with the Penguins or something, but it's a 3-3 game. The shots are even as well, 21 apiece. Let's see what happens here in the third. Hopefully we do not blow this 3-1 lead. Come on, boys. Let's get that 4th goal. That all-important 4th goal. Maybe Agostino, Farinacci again, one of those guys. And Kessel again. Screw you, Phil. You didn't do this for us when you were in Arizona. And now you're scoring at will in Winnipeg. Looks like we're going to lose our first game of the playoffs. Yes, we are. We're going to lose 4-3, and we were out shooting them 36-29. So not a great game from Lenefeld. I might turn to Jack Campbell already, to be honest. Even though that's the first loss of the series and playoffs for Lenefeld, but still not a terrible game considering we only lost by 1 goal. So Gauthier from Geeky, Scheifele from Genther, and Farinacci, Chikrin from Gauthier, and Soderstrom. Let me take a look at the Linnefeld stats, but I think I might turn to Jack Campbell for one game. Yeah, I'm going to turn to Jack Campbell for next game, because that was definitely a Linnefeld's first game of the playoffs, and maybe we'll just give him a little bit of a break, and hopefully if we win this game with Jack Campbell in net, it will give Linnefeld some resting time for the conference finals if we are to get there. But yeah, hopefully we do not get reverse swept, because I know that happens quite a bit in franchise mode. But yeah, let's put in Jack Campbell. And I think that's all we are going to do for line changes, because the rest of these lines have been... Oh, wait a second. That second line of Scheifele, Farinacci, and stuff like that has been minus. I'm going to swap Scheifele and Zadina, because Shelley's been scoring a lot as of late. And I know he works good with Agostino, so... yeah, we do have some minus lines. That's a little bit questionable. But as long as we can score some more goals and Jack Campbell could play good this next game, I think we'll be fine. So that's the only little adjustment we're going to make to our lines, is putting in Jack Campbell and moving Scheifele to the top unit instead of Zadina. But let's see if we can win this series in 5 games and go on to the conference finals. Come on, boys. We're back on home ice as well. First period, and it is 1-1. Scheifele scores again, so I guess it is good to move him to the top unit. Their power play scores in Kurashev, which really sucks. That's not good. And we're being outshot 15-8 after 1, which is not good. A good opening period, though, for Jack Campbell, I guess. 1 goal on 15 shots. I don't know if Linnefeld would have played that good or not. Second period, and we're down 4-2. Oh, no, this is not good. I feel like we're going to get reverse swept or something. Pionk scores, Obey Kabul score, and then Timmins scores for us to pull us within 1. But Phil Kessel again has made it a 2-goal lead for them. The shots are 26-16 in favor of the Jets. We're down by 2 goals. Let's see if we could get these goals back here in the third, or are we going to a Game 6 in Winnipeg? And Soderstrom scores a power play goal, okay. He hadn't scored at all in the playoffs, I'm pretty sure. Come on, guys. And Connor scores a power play goal for them, god damn it. And Scheifele scores a power play goal for them. Now our penalty kill is doing trash, and there's a 7th goal from Phil Kessel, who's just been scoring at will against us. Genther makes it 7-4. This is a really offensive game, and it's a very terrible game for Jack Campbell. Maybe that was not a good idea to put him in net. And yeah, we're going to lose 7-4 in Game 5. And just like that, the Jets are back in the series. It's 3-2. That is not good. Yikes. I don't even want to go over those player stats. Let me take a look at the plus-minus, though. We are going to make some line adjustments, I think, for sure, for next game. A lot of minus players and a very terrible performance from Jack Campbell in his playoff debut. Yeah, we're definitely going back to Linnefeld for next game, but I am going to make some line changes throughout the lineup a little bit, just because this team needs to kind of wake up a bit. Because if we lose this game, there's a good chance we're going to get reverse swept. Okay, so what do we want to do for line changes? Geeky's a -4. Jenner's a +2. Jenner's going back up. Geeky's going back down. What else do we want to do here? That top line's been pretty good. I'm going to change Farinacci and Hayton around as well. A little bit. Just to see if that changes anything. And then defensively, I think we will make some changes as well. Yeah, we'll move Timmins down to play with Baudin, and we'll play Samorukov with Yoki Haryu. And then we're going to go back to a Linnefeld because Campbell was terrible. I could throw in somebody like Henriksen into the lineup, but I don't really know where to put him in. I don't really want to overdo it. We do have guys in the AHL we could call up if we need to as well. But I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. Is just move Geeky down and also change Farinacci and Hayton. Because Farinacci and Scheifele always usually work well together, I think. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. And then we're also going to change up our penalty kill unit because they did score a lot of power play goals last game. We're going to move Scheifele to the top unit and Tracy down. And then we'll also swap Soderstrom with Baudin. And I think that's what we're going to do for that unit. This unit, it could be actually that first penalty kill unit because Geeky's a -4. So we're going to take Geeky off the penalty kill. And we will go to Vasily Ponomarev instead. Yeah, we'll go to Ponomarev instead. Hopefully Ponomarev could do okay there. But hopefully this team could not blow this series lead, because all of a sudden we're a trash team. We started off the series really well, just like we did last round. Because in the first 3 games of the series, we had 10 goals for, and we only allowed 5 goals or 6 goals. And then all of a sudden, we're now allowed 11 goals in our last 2 games, and we've scored 7. So we're still scoring, but our defense is all of a sudden shot the bed. So let's get into Game 6 in Winnipeg. We'll do a real-time simulation of this game. And yeah, hopefully we can knock out the Jets here, because if we don't, that is not good, as Pionk opens the scoring early on and Ehlers scores. Ehlers has returned from injury. That's not good. And it was a power play goal. Once Ehlers returns, they obviously score more goals, so that is not good to see. Barrett Hayton gets us on the board, though, which is good. And Gauthier is going to tie it up. Okay, Gauthier, I like that. Gauthier has actually been pretty good in this series. I should have maybe moved him up in the lines, but after being down 0-2, it's now a 2-2 game. The shots are 12 apiece as well. Let's see what happens here in a second. See if we could add to that goal scoring streak we're on now after that first period. Come on, boys. We want to win this game. We do not want to go to a Game 7. Especially considering Ehlers is now in the lineup and Calvin Scheifele scores. Let's go. Scheifele is honestly one of the best players I've ever drafted, I think, already. And Scheifele is going to tie the game back up at 3 apiece. And they had a lot more shots than us in that period, but Lennefeld's been pretty good still. 28-17 shots in favor of the Jets. Boys, wake up offensively. You need to get more shots on goal. I know you're scoring goals, but you need to get more shots too, because or else we're going to end up getting like smoked completely. Third period underway. We are being outshot, and the score is 3-3. Who wants to get that goal for us to put us up 4-3, please? Penalty kill. And the Jets are going to score on the power play again. Morrissey. God damn it. Final few minutes of this game. Come on, boys. Let's side up. Power play opportunity. Come on, let's force OT. That's a long power play, and we finally score a little bit after the power play as Farinacci's tied the game at 4. And we're going to overtime in a crucial Game 6. If we score a goal, we go into the conference finals. If we allow a goal, then we're going to a Game 7 with a tough Jets team. Shots are 40-33 in favor of Winnipeg, and we are going to an overtime situation. Let's see if we can get that OT winning goal here. And we're going to score right away. What the heck was that? Zadina scores 17 seconds into the first overtime period. It was the first shot of that overtime period, and we're going to the conference finals after a massive decline in play the last few games, but we managed to scrape through with a win in Winnipeg, and we're going to the conference finals, which is a big surprise. I'm kind of surprised that we actually beat this team, because that Jets team, like when we had a 3-0 series lead, I was like, okay, we could definitely go to the conference finals, but after losing multiple games in a row, you could see how good the Jets are actually as a team. So we win that game, but Hayton from Genther and Zadina, Gauthier from Timmins, Shelley from Farinacci and Genther, Farinacci from Hayton and Agostino, and Zadina from Shelley. So Shelley with an assist on the game-winning goal. That's good to see. Let me take a look at those player stats. A couple players with 2 points. Any badly minus players in that game? Only a couple -1s. And then I wouldn't say a terrible game for Lennefeldt, but not a great game. He had a 900 save percentage and a 398, but he did face like 40 shots and got us a win, so I'll take that for sure. 3 stars in that game. Zadina the first star, Hayton the second star, and Shelley the third, all with 1 assist and 1 goal. But we are headed to the conference finals, which I really didn't expect us to go to the conference finals this year, but we're going to be taking on the Edmonton Oilers, I think I just saw. Yep. Which means we're going to be taking on a tougher team probably than the Jets, because we're going to be taking on Connor McDavid more than likely and Leon Draisaitl, which is going to be really scary for sure. The winner of this will face either the Ottawa Senators or the Philadelphia Flyers in the Stanley Cup Finals, so should be interesting nonetheless. But let's take a look at our player stats so far after 2 rounds, and then we'll take a look at what those Oilers look like. And yeah, that's pretty much that, I think. We'll also take a look at our team stats just to see if our power play improved at all. But so far for points, Hayton has 13 points through 10 games, which is really good. He's had a really solid playoffs considering regular season-wise. He had 72 points this year, which was his best year so far. Definitely liking his play so far. John Fernacci, 12 points in 10 games. He's been really good so far as well. He had a really good season this year, so we're going to probably have to lock him up long-term this offseason or give him one more year and then lock him up long-term. Jenner, 6 points in 10 games. He's been a really good player for us. Definitely glad I brought him in that Keller trade we had last year. Geeky, 2 points in 10 games. He's been pretty quiet, I would say, for the most part, but he's a -5 as well. Definitely need him to wake it up a little bit in this conference finals. And same with Ponomaro. Both these two have been really quiet. Like, they are getting a decent amount of ice time, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they're all getting like 12 minutes, so they need to start producing a little bit more and scoring goals if they can. Left wing wise, Zadina's got 9 points in 10 games. Genther's got 9 points in 10 games. And Agostino's got 8 points. So it's our wingers that have definitely been helping us out a little bit as well. And Tracy, 4 points in 10 games as well, which is pretty good. But he has no goals so far, which is kind of a concern. Right wing wise, Calvin Shelley's got 9 points in 10 games. He woke up for sure in that second round because he was a little bit quiet in the first round. But very good stats from him. And he's now up to 13 points in 17 playoff games, 8 goals, 5 assists, not too bad. And then Gauthier has 3 goals, 1 assist for 4 points. I don't think he had anything in the first round, so he definitely woke up a bit in that second round too. Armio has 2 goals as well currently. As for defense, Chikrin 8 points in 10 games like that. Timmins 6 points, that's great to see as well. Soderstrom's been pretty quiet by comparison to last year in the playoffs, but still decent enough because he's a +5. Our defense in general has been pretty good in terms of like plus minus and all that. Like that, Samarukov's been probably the worst because he's only a +1. And then goalie wise, so far Lennefeld's been fantastic. He's 8-1 in the playoffs. Well, Jack Campbell was terrible in that one game he played. But hopefully if we do play him again in the conference finals at some point, that he could play a little bit better than what he did. It could be because of his age, though, who knows. Okay, let's take a look at our team stats so far in this playoffs, and then we will take a look at that Edmonton Oilers team that we're going to face in the conference finals. But so far, in terms of goals for per game in the playoffs, we scored 3.6 goals per game in the playoffs, which is the best in the league. Better than Ottawa, who might be going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Better than the Oilers as well, and the Flyers. The Flyers are down here at 2.75. The Oilers are only at 2.69, which is kind of a surprise. You think they would score more goals with McDavid and Draisaitl in their lineup. Goals against per game wise, we are one of the best defensive teams, but the Flyers are better defensively than us, and then the Ottawa Senators are way better defensively than us. It could be because they have probably a good goalie, I would assume. I don't know who they would have at this point, but that's kind of scary. So Edmonton, we actually are better than them goals for per game wise and goals against wise, I think, unless did I just miss them? Were they near the top of the league as well? Yeah, they actually are above us, never mind. So Edmonton's a good defensive team. And Samorukov is going to get the play against his forward team, which is interesting. Power play percentage-wise, we have one of the best power plays, actually. So our power play definitely improved in that round, which is good. But how is Edmonton's power play unit? Edmonton's is 12.5%, so not too good so far. But their penalty kill is pretty good at 86%. Our penalty kill has been one of the worst so far in the playoffs at 75.9. So we might need to address our penalty kill lines a little bit more. We have no shorthanded goals so far, but we are 8-2 in the playoffs so far. Now let's take a look at that Edmonton Oilers squad, which is probably going to be pretty scary, I would assume, especially in the top 6. But I'm not too sure how good their bottom 6 is going to be, but you never know. It could be pretty solid. So here's the Edmonton Oilers, and yes, this is going to be a tough time. So Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, and Kyler Yamamoto. McDavid's a 97 overall right now, and Yamamoto's an 88. And yeah, this top line has been the main offense for their team. Second line, they have Hyman, Draisaitl, and Puljujarvi, which is also really good. And Hyman's actually been really quiet offensively, which is a little weird considering he's playing with Draisaitl, but that top 6 is most of their offense probably. Third line wise, they got Warren Fogle with Raphael Lavoie and Lucas Alvinus. I know that guy because I used to have him in like a Canucks franchise back in NHL 17. So, and fourth line has Giovanni Smith, Jujhar Khaira, and Matt Nieto. So yeah, their bottom 6 is really quiet offensively, but their top 6 is good. And then defensively, they're also really good as well, and that's a pretty scary defensive core. They have Darnell Nurse, who's been pretty quiet, as well as Evan Bouchard, who's been pretty quiet. They also have Damon Severson, who's been probably their best defenseman, and Philip Broberg. And then on their top 6, they have Graverkov, who's pretty nice, and Josh Brook, who's up to an 83. Don't think I've ever seen him grow that good. And goalie-wise, they do also have a good goalie in Ilya Samsonov. That's kind of scary. Interesting. Didn't know they brought in Samsonov. Damn, on a really crazy contract. And they also have Brian Elliott as their backup at 41 years of age. Wow. Was not expecting that. And depth-wise, they have Dean Kukon, Tyler Tullio, who's not developing really at all for them, and Griffin Dumba. Interesting. So overall-wise, I think we're going to have a tough time with this team because it's even harder than the Winnipeg Jets. But if this team can beat this team, then that would be pretty nice, considering how good their centers are and stuff like that. Like, definitely we need to keep an eye out for McDavid. Obviously, he has over 1,000 points already. He's been a beast in the playoffs as well so far this year and for the last few years. He hasn't won a cup yet, it looks like. So, but yeah, hopefully we can beat them and go to our first cup finals in franchise history. That would be pretty nice. So that is that. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the conference finals against the 43-34-5 Edmonton Oilers as we look to go to our first ever Stanley Cup finals. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.